Hello and welcome back to the Renovation series. This week is going to be a little bit different. As you've probably seen from the thumbnail, I f***ed up my arm. Specifically, I've damaged the rotator cuff in my left shoulder, so I can't raise my arm above my head or anywhere near that, to be honest. My wrist and my elbow are completely fine, but yeah, it's definitely going to be an inconvenience. But the show must go on. Luckily, one of my friends has agreed to come and help out for the day this week. And the next big job I've got to do in here is build the stud wall between the kitchen and what will be the utility suite. But before we crack on with that, let's pick up where we left off from last week when I just finished the first pour of the self-leveling compound in the kitchen. So while I wait for this to dry, I'm going to turn my attention to the roof in here and start insulating. As you can see, there's basically no ceiling to this extension at the moment. You can hear it flapping in the wind and it just lets like so much air in that it's kind of pointless putting the heating on in the house because this room just blows all the warm air out instantly. I've got 100mm thick PIR that needs to go in. So basically I'm just going to cut that with a handsaw and then friction fit it in. At some point my electrician's going to come to do the lights once I've got the kitchen design. So I'm not going to tape anything in or do the plasterboard over the top yet. I'm just going to put it in. I might number them as well, so if the electrician needs to move them out of the way, we know where they go. But I think it might just help keep me a little bit warmer because it's really cold at the moment. Okay, so the plan for this is basically measure the gap between the rafters, mark that out on the insulation with a straight edge, cut it with a handsaw, stick it in. Should be pretty easy. So as you can see, this process became pretty trial and error. I'd measure a gap, cut a piece for it, realize it didn't fit, and then just go around trying to find a gap that it did fit in, which eventually worked out for me. I finished insulating the roof last night and I absolutely hated that job. Like, I was just getting tiny bits of insulation in my eye constantly, even though I was wearing goggles. Like, every time I looked up and I banged a piece of insulation, I just get so much in my eye and I don't even know how. I'd cut one for a certain section, it wouldn't fit, and then I would just go around trying to fit it in other ones. But it's done and it's a lot warmer in here, but there's insulated plasterboard to go on and it needs to be plastered. So it's not like super warm in here. It's still a bit drafty. Now the insulation's done, it's time to do the second pour of the self-leveling compound. As I said, the first pour went much better than I was expecting. So I'm just gonna crack on with the second pour and hopefully it goes as well as the first one did. Okay, I've got my mixing station set up again. And this time, because I'm doing the whole floor and I need to walk over it to roll it all out and stuff, I've got some spiked shoes, which are meant for aerating lawns, but people recommend them for doing this. How does that work? Pretty gnarly pair of sandals. Could do with this extra height day to day, to be honest. Those are pretty lethal. Time to crack on. If you're new here and you're enjoying this sort of content, then please consider hitting the subscribe button. I've been documenting the renovation process from the very beginning, so you've got a lot of videos to catch up on. It's been a couple of days since I poured the floor in the kitchen and I'm pretty happy with it. Rock solid, been around with the spirit level and it's all looking good. So it's time to crack on with the next task. As I said, my good friend Will has come to help me out for the day. And we're going to be building the stud wall between the kitchen and the utility suite. So the first thing we're going to do is do the floor plate, measure it up, get it in with some concrete screws, and then go from there, really.
Jobs are good.
There we go. 228.5.
Perfect. Oh my God.
That went in quick. Now the floor plate is completely secure, it's time to do the wall plates and the top plate. We need to put some noggins between the rafters just so we've got something to attach the top plate to. So we're going to cut a couple of pieces that will fit in there and then we'll be able to frame up the rest and then we can do the internal studs. Bash. So this is what the stud wall's looking like now. Me and Will spent all of yesterday putting it together and it went pretty well. I couldn't have done it without Will, so thank you, Will. It's all feeling pretty solid. I'm very happy with it, but there's obviously still a few jobs I need to do in order to have this thing actually finished. Now I'm planning on having radiators on this side of the stud wall and I think on this side of the stud wall, which is why I put these extra noggins in here so that I can mount the radiators to something in the future. But in order to have those radiators there, I obviously need plumbing to come from somewhere. So the plan is it's going to come from up there, tee off and come through the stud wall and through these noggins into the radiators, which means I need to drill 22mm holes with a spade bit in order for those pipes to go through. Ow. So you can kind of see my thinking here. Tee off up there, bring it all the way through the wall and down to the radiator. I'm not going to plumb it in yet because I can't be bothered to drain down the heating system. And now it's time to plasterboard it. It's been a few days since I plasterboarded the stud wall and eagle-eyed viewers will notice I've added a radiator. Got this radiator super cheap online and I think it looks really good. It's fully plumbed in now. I've also insulated the stud wall as the washing machine is going to be in here and the boiler obviously. I didn't want to leave just a void in this thing because apparently it can just amplify the sound of a washing machine because essentially what you've made is a massive drum. So I've just put a regular like eco loft insulation in there. You can get sound dampening pads but they cost about £1 million. So I went with just like normal insulation which won't make the room soundproof, but should be a lot better than just a big hollow wall. I've left a space at the top for the gas pipe to be moved because legally I can't do that myself. So at some point the gas man will come and do that. Since I finished this stud wall, I've been working really hard trying to get this kitchen space completely ready so the kitchen companies can come over, measure everything up, and then design a kitchen for me. This step between the dining room and the kitchen is obviously pretty chaotic, and it needs to be extended slightly to cover up the new pipework. This mess was left over from when I had the wall removed a few months back, so I didn't really know how to fix this, so I basically just started pulling bricks out and trying to formulate a plan as to how to make this step usable. Because the step was so lumpy and irregular, I thought the best thing to do would be to just create a whole new concrete step. So I used a piece of 2x3 to create a form, which I then started to fill with concrete. After that had cured overnight, I removed the form and placed another piece of timber a couple of centimetres away from the step so that I could hide the pipes behind it. I then laid a piece of damp-proof membrane across the length of the step and cut a piece of chipboard subfloor to the right size so that it would fit in perfectly. I then used concrete screws to secure the board down to the step and wood screws to secure it to the front piece of timber, remembering to countersink the holes so that the surface was completely flat. Now that the step's been extended, I needed to extend the little piece of wall that juts out on the right hand side. So I created the world's smallest stud wall and plasterboarded that over so that it's all ready for the kitchen companies to measure everything up. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.